making videos every day. At least you can watch one video a week. So that's my thinking. Today I'm actually going to teach you guys how to do cursive. I thought this would be a good tutorial. Now, I took cursive in school many years ago when I was about 10. And I think there's slightly different methods to how to do it properly. Most people as adults tend to make it their own, like for flavors or varieties, which is why some people's cursive turns into chicken scratch when they're older, and others come off very refined and elegant because they spent time practicing it in a certain way. I'm going to teach it to you as my teacher taught me in school, and we're going to do first all the capitalized letters of the alphabet, and then all the smaller case letters, because it's not a lot of differences, but there are some differences. And then I'll write maybe a few sentences to give you an example. Now, I'm very lazy, and I do write my cursive with the board flat like this. This is how you do normal print writing. But actually, the proper way to do cursive is to have the paper at a slight angle. Not too much. You don't want it like 90 degrees or anything, but it has to be at a slight angle like this. This is how they taught it to us. I'm going to use this page just for the capital letters. Now, with cursive, it's not exactly like calligraphy, which I have less experience with. You're going to see most of the letters for cursive to actually be the same as the regular print or standard writing, but little similar to K, but it has the big circular loop here, so it doesn't come off exactly like K. However, in some cursive books, I do see the K looking a little similar to the R, but I wanted it to make the difference clearer here as I'm writing it. OPQRS is also one that's very different than the standard writing. So again, S looks almost like a ship, like a sailor ship, right? Up here, loop. Here's the body of the boat, and then you have the loop going here. Normally, when you're writing, this is going to connect to the other words or letters, but we're not going to do that here. But here you can see it. So that's S, Q, R, S, T. You can add little curves if you want. Usually, some books I see will do this, but it just depends. U doesn't have much of a variation. It just looks like this. V, a very, very skinny U. And then W, X, and then Y. Capital Y is pretty standard, actually. The capital, but the little one is a little different. And then you have C. One second, actually, I have to look at C. Capital C was something like this. It's not a normal C, but some people that are lazy will write it closer to standard format. But it starts like this. So you have it like this, and then you have to make a loop like this in the bottom, and that's capital C. So capital C in cursive is actually designed slightly different than standard writing. It's been a while, and even though I use cursive every day, I rarely write things with capital C. So took me a second. So this is, if you want to look, this is typically how I was taught it for the capitals. See, next we're gonna do the smaller letters, which also has slightly more variety than the capital formats. I don't like to waste paper, so I'm gonna do the small letters in the back page. And then I'll use another page to write out some sentences so you can see the words in action. So again, not a full like 90-degree angle, but keep the board at a slight angle if you want to do it professionally. And now we're gonna do the little letters. This is A, B. Now this, I didn't write the B very clearly. Normally the loop, actually, you know what, I'll just do it like this. Normally the loop for B is bigger, so, which is why I redid it. So that's a B, a little B. C, D, I is used as a connecting letter in cursive, usually you're gonna see the I written like this, and then there's gonna be like a little dot, because normally it's gonna be used to connect a letter here and connect a letter here. And there's not many when it's the first letter of a word, then it's only going to be connected to one side over here, but the loops you typically stay regardless. J, I know J looks a little bit like the lowercase j. K, L looks like this. Again, the double loops is a little similar to I, and if the starting word starts with L, you keep the loops regardless. M, N, O, P. You can do this with your P's, or you can just keep it like partially open. It's personal preference. OP. Wait, no, Q had a specific look to it. Give me a second. Okay, so lowercase q looks like this. I wasn't taught to do a little loop like this, but in some photos I saw, some people teach the students to do loops like this for lowercase q. We were generally taught without it. You could also add an additional tail over here if you wish. That's lowercase q. Q. R is mostly loops. You have like this, like this, like this. That's R. S is similar to the capitalized version, but like this. O, P, Q, R, S. T isn't too different. And yeah, you can have double loops depending on if it's connecting to a word or not. U, V, W, X, Y, that's Y, and then 1 minute, I have to double check the lowercase c. The lowercase is similar to the capital one, so we're gonna just mimic it. And then you have it kind of like that. That's okay. The top isn't so nice looking, but see, the top portion is like this, and then you kind of have the second portion. I don't know if you can see this because I went over it a few times. The second portion is actually like this, a little further this way before looping out. I'll actually do it one more time since I messed up. So it's almost like a backwards 3, and then you do it like that. However, because I'm very lazy, and also I don't use C a lot in my day-to-day writing, the few times I do write C, I just write it like that. Which is why I forgot what the proper formation of the letter is. So I think, and this is something I want to point out for people reading cursive, especially if it's old documents. As people get older, they kind of stylize their writing, whether it's standard English or cursive English, to their own tastes. And if they're a fast writer, or they're not like very careful in writing, a lot of cursive letters typically get simplified a lot, so it doesn't look like what is normally taught in the textbooks. Furthermore, some people, when they stylize their cursive and they're writing elegantly, some people like to go a little over the top and add more spirals and loops than is typically there. So you can have, so when someone grows up and they keep writing cursive, on one end to be very super over the top and professional and elegant, or on the other end it can be very simplified and chicken scratchy and hard to decipher. So this was my little lesson for capitalized and lowercase cursive letters. So now I'm going to write some sentences so you can see how the words look. Okay, so let's just write some generic sentences. I came home today and I saw my dog was hungry. Okay, let's do that. It usually connects with the little O up here, but it's okay. I came home today. And saw I came home today. It's a little janky here, it's okay. I came home today and saw my dog was hungry. She ate her kibble, comma, but wanted more food. So, comma, I gave her fish. I came home today and saw my dog was hungry. She ate her kibble but wanted more food, so I gave her fish. Now, the thing with cursive is if you practice it every day and you get to a point you feel comfortable with it, you're actually able to write out, thoughts and sentences and whatever faster than with standard writing. And I do think it has its benefits, especially if you're going to be a history major in the future, because a lot, and I mean a lot of old documents from government papers to people's personal journals were written in cursive, and it's going to be problematic if you can't read first account or first person sources directly, and you're going to need to rely on a translation, right? So this is like something that I think it's really good to learn for everyday usage, since it helps you write faster, but also it helps if you're going to learn to read old script with older documents. documents. Okay guys, so this week's video is actually going to be fairly short. I honestly thought it was going to take longer than this to go over the cursive writing. So I'll come up with something for the next week too. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful week.